Hey, babe. Hello, all, and welcome to the Affluent Marriage Podcast. You're listening to one financial coach and one educator talk about living a rich and full marriage through generational wealth building principles, authentic two-way communication, and everything in between to become a couple that lives in love and walks in wealth. Your legacy begins here. How are you doing today, Kim?
I'm doing really great. I could do without the pollen that's in the air, but
Yes, we do
I'm
have
doing
like what we
okay.
just got that report from our weather service that said that we're what? Are we yellow or orange right now?
like red.
What
No, I
color-
think it's
what-
yellow.
what color
does
are
a-
we?
What does a bean mean? It's like really, really hazy outside. and
But I
both of
felt
us-
it. We went outside on that bike ride with the girls
Your
for a
eye
little
looks
bit.
a lot better. Your eye
Good.
was like red
Good.
before.
Yes, and we were outside for a hot, just like hour, and
Oh my gosh.
we were
I'm
sniffling, we were
feeling it.
coughing. My eyes started itching, but I
I'm
know
feeling
myself.
it. Yeah.
Like if my eyes itch, I do not touch them because
You're
they
really
will
good at
swell
restraining
up. I'm very
against
good.
itching. I
have
am not.
phenomenal self-control.
I do not.
Do you know why
When it
that
comes
is?
to- why?
Growing up, I think I had poison ivy, poison oak, all the poisons every summer. I was just a boy in the woods.
Poison.
There was one time I had it like specifically on like my face behind my ear, and my ear stuck out like one of those old-fashioned traffic signs. Like it was like boing, go. That's what my ear looks like.
That's funny.
And yeah, you got to have self-control, otherwise that stuff spreads.
That's true. No, I never had.
How were
poison
you
ivy.
with like chicken pox?
Oh, I itched. I have scars.
Really?
Yeah, not a lot, but I do have scars.
See, mine is frustrating because I didn't really itch, but like my brother and I, you know how they do the whole like family thing. They put all the kids in the same room.
Yes.
My neighbor got it, I think, and then they put us all in the same bed together.
That's really funny.
right.
All in the same bed?
My brother actually scratched some of my chicken pox. So like I didn't even scratch my chicken pox, but my brother was like, "Well, let me see what happens if I do it to you."
Gross.
Yeah.
Gross.
So I do have a couple like scars or whatever, but just because of my brother, not because of
That's
me.
crazy. No, I never.
I love you,
that
Christian.
didn't happen. But yeah, no, I did not. I don't remember my experience with chickenpox. I just know that I.
What a funny
definitely itched.
story to tell people now that we're post-COVID, right?
Right,
Like,
I know, right?
like our generation was like,
you
wait,
get sick.
there's a global pandemic, hide. And then growing up, it was like, wait, you're sick. Get in a room with all your family
Well,
members.
because it got worse as you got older, right? If you got well, you had shingles,
Dude, tell me about it. Yeah, brought on by my anxiety.
dude. Shingles was the worst.
Hey, guess what? I had that on my face too.
You did. Oh my gosh, it was horrible, and it didn't itch, did it? It wasn't even on your face. It was on your head, and then it spread down to
it's
his
just
face.
painful, man.
It was awful. I say it like I did it, like, but I saw him and how in pain he was. Oh my gosh. That was
if you ever want to
awful.
talk shingles, man, just hit me up.
Oh, it was
We'll talk
awful. And I
shingles.
was like,
It
you're too
was
young
miserable.
for shingles. It was awful.
You can have anxiety and do shingles. In fact,
Yeah.
actually, there are
Stress.
reports that people younger and younger and younger are getting shingles because of stress.
Wow. Yeah,
it's
because it
not
was
just
quite
me.
stressful, man.
It's not just me.
And that was like in the last couple years,
This
y'all.
world is
Like,
stressful.
I was like, what is wrong with you? And he was like, I was like, are you sick? Oh my goodness. It was an interesting moment in time.
But here we are.
Here we are.
Let's talk about the good.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know if you guys heard the dryer in the
Listen,
background.
it is June.
Our dryer is done.
Yeah, but that's a positive,
That's a
right? Our laundry's done. Hey, it's June, and I don't know when people are going to hear this recording, but it's minivan month.
Oh my gosh. Guys, when I tell you this has been, I don't even want to say months, years in the making, at least a year and some change that we have been praying and dreaming for this moment where we could buy this minivan. And it wasn't, I mean, I've said it many times that last year was not, it didn't go the way that we intended for it to go. And I know we wanted to do this last year and it just didn't align. It wasn't the right time. And cars were also ridiculously expensive. And so we just were like, okay, it's not the right time. But man, oh man, it's the right time now. And I'm so excited.
You've heard the expression, isn't it like hot mom summer?
Hot mom summer?
That's
oh, yeah.
an expression, yes. So for me, it's like that, the equivalent of that, but we'll call it like minivan dad summer. Like this is my hot mom summer.
He's so excited.
I'm so excited about this minivan. I know
amount-
not a lot of men probably get up for a minivan, but man, I do.
He's so excited.
Stow and go seating.
Let me talk. Okay, let's just talk about this though. Like, we keep talking. Yesterday, I was like, babe, it's June. Do you know what June means? It's minivan month. Like it's
Minivan summer.
it's like a hot phrase in this house right now. We're like, it's minivan month. Like sweet nothings.
Hey,
Just say the phrase and I'm like, yeah.
minivans might not be sexy, but someone thought I was sexy enough to fill that van with children.
You keep using that phrase. That was such a funny, like, it's a good phrase, but
Hey,
I'm so excited. Every time I'm like, oh, we have to put the kids in the car seats, and they're all like, I want to do it myself. Ah. And I'm like, oh man, and like 3 short weeks, we'll just be able to press a button and the doors will open and they could just run in.
how many seats are in a minivan?
A lot. 7, 8.
Wow, we've got some work to do.
Oh my gosh, no, that is definitely not what we're doing. We are not going to fill up every single one of those seats. No, thank you.
We'll leave one seat for grandma.
No, thank you. Oh man, it's going to be great, guys. Prepare to be sick of me. Prepare to be sick of us, because we about to do all these types of reels and videos with our new hoopty. It's not a hoopty though.
They
our
see
new
me
ride.
rolling.
Hayden, like seriously.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot coming out about the
Seriously.
minivan.
And here's something that I've been saying
We need
on
to post
social.
more about the bathroom because it's done.
We do. The bathroom's done. We're finally getting to the point of like decorating it, because he has been repainting all of the baseboards, all of the trim, all of the doors in every room of the house. And he wanted to paint the bathroom. So he painted the bathroom. He's been painting and just
Both bathrooms,
just
now the
like
master
just
bedroom.
adding things and whatever, sprucing things up.
Oh, that's
and
true. We did add more hardware.
Yep. And so, we added like, the towel holders and all that stuff. And so we've been doing that. We just did the shower curtain. We have to pick out a shower curtain. So we haven't really been using the shower yet. In fact, we were talking about it and you were like, we're not having the girls use it. They're just going to use the other
absolutely
bath.
not.
This is our bathroom.
They don't deserve that.
And so, our house is in disarray right now.
If your IQ tells you it's okay to put a crayon on a wall and color, you can't use my bathroom.
You can't use my bathroom. No, I 100% agree with you. So it's been, May was an amazing month. We did a lot of stuff, and June is about to be phenomenal as well. Next week, we're going on a fun little getaway because it's our anniversary this month. 12
Yes.
years of marriage.
Where are we going? Del Crisco?
Del Frisco's. Look it up,
okay.
y'all. Look it up. Oh, it's bougie. We getting bougie.
I love it. I have no idea
excited.
even what the menu looks like, but I'm excited. I've already had dinner, but I'm salivating just thinking
Oh
about
my gosh.
Frisco.
It's
Frisco. I'm ready.
It's so good.
Let's eat.
I'm very excited.
It's not like
to
small
get
plates though,
bougie.
right?
No, man.
Okay, thank God. Where
it's
did we
like-
go? I know it's not man, what's that place called? It was by the mall, and we went there one time. It was all like eating healthy or whatever, which is anti-me anyway.
Seasons 52.
Seasons 52.
You
And-
hated that. I don't mind
And
Seasons
they brought
52.
me, I ordered like a piece of chicken or something. They brought out this tiny little piece of chicken, and I was looking at this little tender like, what is this? And they had some like
And
basil next
everything-
to it, and I was like, no.
Everything
no,
is
no.
like healthy there, and like it's very fresh and whatever. He wants like Maggiano
Right, and
style.
and you say that because right across the way was a Maggiano's, and I'm
Maggiano's,
seeing
and it's,
people
like,
sitting
family
outside with
style.
family style eating tons of pasta, and I'm like, man, I got this little chicken tender, and they got this like,
And I had to pay the same amount,
endless
like $52
pasta.
for a chicken tender. Yeah, no.
Bump that.
Del Frisco's is a steakhouse, and
Ooh.
they have this steak called a tomahawk steak.
talk to me.
Yeah, it's got, when they bring it out to people.
Do they throw it at you like a tomahawk?
Yes, they do.
Into your mouth?
It's a big old steak, like a big old steak, and it has a huge bone that like sticks out, so that when they bring it to you, it's literally like on a sizzling plate,
I want to be a caveman.
and that's literally what it's like. But they also have like,
Call me Gronk.
they also have really good seafood and stuff like that. So I'm excited to indulge and just enjoy eating a very, very nice fancy dinner without my kids. I'm gonna look cute. Just get
That's just as good as the minivan. Like,
I mean-
let's be real. Wow.
prepare to be sick of me. I'm gonna take all my pictures. Look
Hey.
how hot I look.
So last time we chatted,
Yeah.
all right, for episode 27, we talked about avoiding stagnation in your financial journey. What a good episode.
Such a good
Right.
episode.
And we had to break that into 3 parts. So that's actually 27, 29, and 31. That's our free episodes for like basically a month.
Guys, if you have friends, Graham fam, hey, we haven't really said directly hello to you. Hello, Graham fam.
We appreciate you. Thank you for
appreciate-
being here.
Thank you so much for listening to us, for all that. Share the content. If you like what you're hearing, there are so many free episodes that are available to anyone. And
It's a great way to get started.
it's a great
to get a feel
way
for us.
to just, for people to just be like, who is this couple? Why should we listen to them? Why should they give a gram? Seriously, share. Okay.
Bear share.
And if you really have liked what you've heard in Gram Fam and it has changed your perspective on things, feel free to tell them like, yo, it is like it's a subscription, but the stuff that I'm getting from it is so much deeper than I'm getting in other places. And, it's great.
And it just keeps coming.
It
is the Maggiano of podcasts.
It is.
Like
no seasons 52
the meals
here.
keep coming, right? You're not just going to get a chicken tender with us. All right.
Nope.
You're getting endless pasta.
You're getting a tomahawk
every week.
here.
Ooh,
Tomahawk steak.
love that.
We bougie over here. Also, guys, I feel like we might have some things in the works. Daniel and I have been dreaming.
Wait, we're dreaming?
Oh yes, all the time. And I'm not even gonna say anything, but we got stuff.
Well, that's exciting because I feel like I already forgot about the things that we talked about today.
Oh,
We dream
trust.
so often that sometimes I forget what we're dreaming about.
Trust.
But it's going to be good, y'all.
It's in my notebook.
Wow. So that means
If it's in my notebook,
if it's written,
it's
it
gonna
is
happen.
written. Wow. Episode 26 was our last paid exclusive Gram Fam content. And that was about, we wrapped up budgeting with your partner.
I hope you guys have started budgeting and did the call to action.
I just hope that your conversations are more open and honest and engaging and authentic, right?
Yes.
That's the goal, is that you're able to actually, without fear and trepidation, have these conversations with your partner.
Exactly.
That's what it's all about.
And I really want to encourage you that if you are having these conversations with your spouse, that you're not just saying, oh, well, it didn't work. That one conversation didn't go as well. Not the point. The point is that you're continuing to reach out, to try different ways to connect with your spouse, you have to try something, because what's the alternative? To just be like, oh, well, I guess this is just my life. Like, you know, you want more than that. So keep trying.
Oh, we got trouble right here in River City.
All right.
With a capital B, and that stands for budget.
Budget. That stands for budget.
Yeah, it should not be a conversation that strikes fear in you. It should be something that you're excited to run to your partner and be like, hey, check out the news, check out the update. Here's what we got going on. We're reaching our goals. It's supposed to be exciting.
Yep. I was talking to a client the other day about having a conversation with her spouse. She's been doing a phenomenal job, but the one thing that's still kind of missing is the unity between her and her spouse. And I said, when's the last time you went on a date? And she couldn't answer. She was like, oh my gosh. And it's not like she didn't have childcare or anything. Like, go on a date. And when's the last time you've dreamed with your spouse? When's the last time, money aside, you just talked about what you want for your future and listened to what your partner wants for their future and just dreamed without abandon? When's the last time you've done that? Have you let yourself do that? Sometimes that is the hurdle. That's the hard part, because life has told you that you can only do blank. Life has told you that this is the end of the road. But if you have a spark, an inkling, and that it could be more than that, like, it is worth it to sit and have that conversation away from your normal surroundings. So that's why I say go on a date and just dream together. Yeah.
Can we talk about today?
Yeah. What was today?
So I don't know that we did. I'm talking about like our podcast today.
Yeah.
Because
Let's do it. Sorry, I get really excited about all the things.
We have an incredible episode today. I don't know that this is out of order. I feel like when people just want to know how to budget. So that's why we jumped into how to budget. And then people want to know how to take that idea, that concept of budgeting, and apply it to their spouse. Like, how do we bring them in? So this might be a little out of order, because like chicken or the egg, which comes first? But today we're going to talk about your means of budgeting. Like, what are you budgeting with?
Yes. So this is like, if you think about it as the vehicle, you want to get from point A to point B. Like, I feel disheveled with my finances. I feel secure in my finances. What is the vehicle that's getting you from point A to point B? So this is the means. What type of vehicle are you building to get from point A to point B? That's what we're talking about today.
I love that. Right. Are you going to take a minivan like us?
Like
are you going to take a truck? Are you going to take a car, an Uber, train, taxi,
or do you have a
cab?
hoopty? Do you have something that's a jalopy that's over there broken down? Or are you trying to make sure that it's a nice, solid ride?
But the point is, we've taught you in the last couple of episodes how to go from point A to point B, how to budget. Today, you're going to find out what are you rolling in, right? What method are you using to get from A to B?
Yep.
Sound good?
Sound good. And know that we are probably going to reach back to some previous episodes and do some repeating because truthfully, like none of this is necessarily, it is simple in that it is look at the numbers, know what the numbers are doing, stay on top of the numbers, react to the numbers, react to what's happening there, right? So it is all about that. It's not hard necessarily. They are simple steps, but it's the follow through. So this is what's going to help you stick to the follow through of it all.
All right, so we're going to talk about all of these today, but we're going to break it down one at a time. Let me just name some of these different ways that you can budget though, okay? Mm-hmm. All right, there's the tried and true, the old fashioned, the old faithful paper pencil.
Everybody loves paper pencil.
Hey, we started on the paper pencil budget, right?
We sure did.
And there's tons of paper pencil budgets out there, things that you can print. Look, I'm the type of person, I love to read a book that has been printed. I'm not a big Kindle, like read it on an electric tablet. I don't know. I don't vibe with that.
Yeah.
Very much give me a hardbound book. Let me feel it in my hands. Read it page to page, cover to cover. That's what I want to do.
Same.
Some people love that.
Because I like to write in my books when I read.
Yes.
So I prefer to highlight and write little notes in the margins. So that's how I prefer to read. So in the same way with your budget, you might be a person that prefers paper pencil. And we're going to talk a little bit deeper about that. Right.
And we'll break down the pros and cons of the tried and true paper pencil method. Another is electronic, like a spreadsheet.
Yes.
Like an Excel spreadsheet.
Love me a good spreadsheet.
Right. And that's currently what we're using, but we've had a long journey to get there.
And we'll talk
but we'll definitely talk about the pros and cons of using something like an Excel spreadsheet. Some people choose to do apps.
Yeah.
I was going to say applications.
They're,
it's funny because that's a word people don't say. Like a lot of people don't say applications, but they say apps. So when you hear like the actual like not short word application,
like,
it just sounds weird. Like wait.
Apps. But I will say there's like, I want to say 30,
software, I guess would be another way to say it.
30 million. I feel like it's a super high number of budgeting apps out there.
That many?
I did the research a year or so ago, so it's definitely more now, but there's a ton of budgeting apps out there.
That's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Like it's a lot.
Why was my first thought to make one and then just have it be 30 million in one? I don't know why my brain just went there. That's not happening.
We could do an app. An app could be something we do in the future. Let's just add that to the list.
Add it to a dream, but that's not a passion of mine right now.
That's not really a passion for me.
That doesn't get me excited.
No.
All right. So there's a lot of apps out there. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about, I'll mention the popular ones.
Okay.
When we get to our pro-con list.
We have a top 10
apps.
list. Yep.
There's two more. One of which is the envelope system.
Yes.
Which you and I had a little conversation earlier about. Is that an actual?
I think it is a method. It is a type of vehicle to get from point A to point B.
And I agree with you. I agree with you. It's a little bit different with your tracking because it's not electronic. It's not something.
And we'll talk about the pros and cons. Don't dive too deep.
I won't dive too deep. But you got the envelopes. You put the cash in each one, and you track the envelopes. And you say, "This is my grocery envelope.
Yeah.
This is how much I have in it. This is how much I have left." So you're tracking.
Yes.
So yes,
this is what your grandma did. I mean, before applications, before spreadsheets, there were paper, pencil, and cash envelopes. That's the only choice you had.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? So it's a vehicle.
So the final one is kind of a combination of all. We just called it combination. And we also tried this for a while. We did paper, pencil, and we mixed it a little bit with software,
apps
with an app.
And spreadsheets.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about how we got to that point. How do you figure out your ideal combination and the different things that you need to think through. One of the things before we go into popular apps that you might want to check out is that I think before you even start doing this, choosing what method makes sense for you, I always ask people to think about their favorite class or at high school. Or if you're thinking, okay, if you have to go back to school, what kind of class are you thinking about wanting to take? What is the type of learner that you were when you were growing up? Were you a person that enjoyed the group projects?
No.
I actually did. I loved group projects.
I did all the work.
And I joined in with the work. I was the person that liked to work with the person who was the know-it-all. If
I were a better delegator at the ripe young age of like 16 or younger, then maybe I would have enjoyed group work. But I didn't know how to delegate. I just knew how to take over and do it all myself and tell people to get out of my way.
I was always in the group where someone did that, and I was like, dude, tell me what to do, I'll do it. And they're like, no, I got it. And I'm like, no, dude, I want to help you, so that was always me. But I loved getting in front of like audiences and doing presentations. Give me a good presentation and tell me that's my final grade, I will get straight A's across the board. I love it. I know how to give a good presentation.
You just sound good when you talk.
Oh, thank you. Give me a good PowerPoint, I'm there. So think about those types of things. Like, were you a person that preferred when you did note taking, when you were studying for tests? Were you a person that liked to have notes so that you wrote down notes in the margins in your books? Were you a person that highlighted a lot? Were you a person that needed to recite what you learned over and over again out loud with note cards? Or did you talk to a person? Were you a person that auditory, that you had something on your ears and you were like, I need to listen to it in order to understand it? These things are vital, right? As an educator, I recognized that a lot of my clients were like students, right? You didn't lose any of those things. These are ideal ways for you to learn. They are the place where your brain is like, yes, I am able to receive this information. Use that information, that what you know of how you learn, and plug it into how you manage your money. It's the same exact thing. If you need to move, if you need tactile things, if you need something that is auditory. I mean, there are so many different ways that you can fuse your ideal learning style into your money management.
I love listening to your geniuses crossover. You got your decade there of classroom, education and master's degree mixed with your, 34 years of financial planning and
not 34,
coaching.
dude.
From birth,
I've
baby.
only been doing the money management thing since I was like, 23?
The decisions you made when you were 1 impacted you today.
Trust.
I know you put some of those Cheerios aside on your little table.
I was counting them.
You're like, I'm going to eat some of these now, and I'm going to eat some of these later during Clifford.
Already saving at 1 year old.
Hey, all right. Popular apps. Take out your paper pencil or your Excel spreadsheet and get ready to write these down.
Yep.
If you're someone who's interested in using an app, there's a lot of advantages in using these types of software.
Yep.
There's also some drawbacks. But here are some of the popular ones. I went online. Can you push up your glasses for me like a nerd? Yeah. I didn't say make a sound effect, but I guess that's for the audible listeners,
the audible
right?
listeners, right? If you're listening to the podcast, you're probably an audible learner.
So here are some of the most popular software budgeting apps that are out there, according to NerdWallet. All right, let's see if I can name these from memory. Are you right? Let's see if I can do this because I did this earlier when I was writing them down.
I got all
I'm
but
going to
one. Test you.
I got all but one, okay?
Okay.
First off, I'm going to name one that we used, the Mint.
Uh-huh.
All right. Great
Yes.
software.
Loved it.
I enjoyed
That was
using the
all
Mint.
that was available at the time. It was, I shouldn't say all. That was the most popular one. Was
Right.
Mint.
There were others. All right, let's go with, there's Fudget.
Mm-hmm.
Spelt like budget, but with an F.
Which I think is really funny.
Fudget.
Fudget.
I do like that one. There's the Honeydew.
Uh-huh.
Spelt like honey, and then D-U-E, like it's something is due. Honeydew.
Yes, Honeydew.
There's Empower,
Mhm.
which just sounds really masculine, right?
It does.
Personal Capital. I was going to say
Uh-huh.
Capital Gains, which is the book that I just read, Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Good book.
Personal.
read it.
I was going to say.
I got it for you.
She looked at the cover. It was great. We've thrown my mind off so far now. Personal Capital.
Yep.
All right. We've got the YNAB, which is You Need a Budget.
Yep.
The one that I forgot, I do remember now because it makes me think of Good Burger.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Good Budget, home of the Good Budget. Can I take your order?
That's right.
Did I miss any?
Yeah, you got 2 more.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Now this is frustrating. Mint, Empower, Fudget, Personal Capital, Empower,
I'm
YNAB,
surprised you're forgetting this one.
Honey. Oh, Pocket Guard.
Uh-huh.
Pocket Guard.
I'm really surprised you're missing this last one.
And Every Dollar.
Ah, there
Every
you
Dollar.
go.
I was like,
You
man, where's she
did
going? Where's she
it.
going with
Ding,
this?
ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, because Dave Ramsey, right?
Yes, I was like,
Now,
you should know this one off the top of your head.
You know, honestly, I would have been pretty ticked off.
I know, if you forgot that last one.
If you were like, all right, here's what it is, babe. It's Every Dollar.
You would have been so mad.
We would have stopped the podcast. I would have thrown my mic across the room.
And then being like, start over.
Yeah. Maybe I'd have been like, all right, start over. What
That
are we
was
at?
embarrassing.
24 minutes almost? Yeah, forget this.
So you might have heard some of those before. if you are friends with us, if you're not following us, I should say following, not friends, but we like you. You're friends of ours at the Affluent Marriage Pod on Instagram. But let us know if any of those you actually use. I've had some people use YNAB. I've heard of people using EveryDollar. A lot of people use that. The Mint is one that I normally recommend. Another couple of ones that I really like that even though they're not on here are really good. So honorable mention, so to speak, is Rocket Money, which is really great. It gives you a really good over scope of investments and net worth and all that stuff. So there's a lot out there. A lot. It'll actually cancel subscriptions for you. I'm surprised it wasn't on there.
Interesting.
So let's talk about the pros and cons.
Right. So now, initially, when I was writing this episode, I wanted to go through each and every software and break down the pros and cons of each one, but we're going to leave that to you. All right. If there's one that stands out to you, or if you just want to research all 8 of these, you can certainly go in, look at each one, look up reviews, look up articles, look at YouTube videos, and find out how each one works. All right. They're all different. But they also do.
I was going to say.
Also do the
same thing. I feel like they all do the same thing. They just have different ways to approach the same thing. So you got to look at like how they're approaching it.
It's like walking to a 3-bedroom home. Like they all have 3 bedrooms, but the layout's different.
Exactly. So you got to figure out what layout makes sense to you. Which one makes you go, okay, this is something that I could learn. Which one has, maybe if you're not tech savvy, which one's going to be the most user friendly, which one's going to be the most flexible. Maybe if you have a very unique situation, there's all these different things that it's going to be really hard for us to go that deep because we don't know your specific situation. So we're just going to give you a very good overview of the pros and cons and yeah,
of just
go from there.
The applications in general.
Yeah.
Right. Number one, and this is really what appealed to us when we were first starting out and why we kind of combined paper pencil and the software: convenience. Budgeting apps provide a convenient way to track your income and your expenses. You can easily enter the transactions, categorize them, and view your financial information in one place. And it's often accessible from your smartphone or even your computer.
Can't beat it, right? It's always there. Now, there's some cons there too, but we will not say them now.
Yet. No.
Okay. The other one that's really good is that it's real-time tracking. So budgeting apps allow you to track your spending in real time. So it'll connect to your bank account. And as the moment that you swipe your card, it automatically pops up and tells you what you just spent on the app, and the app will categorize it for you. So that's really good. This gives you immediate visibility into your financial situation, helping you make informed decisions and stay on top of your budget. So who can beat that?
And I know we're not talking about cons, but not every application is going to do that for you. Like, it's not always automated. Sometimes you have to do a manual transaction.
Sometimes you have to pay, right? So some of these are paid
to get it automatic.
Absolutely.
Oh, which is actually our next point: automation. Many budgeting apps offer automatic transaction importing and categorization for you, saving you time and effort instead of manually entering every expense. This automation can make the budgeting process more efficient. But again, not every one does that. Most probably will do it if you pay a little bit of money.
Yep, absolutely. Financial insights, which I think Rocket Money is a really great one for this one. Budgeting apps often provide you charts and graphs and reports that offer insights to your spending habits, trends, and areas where you can save money. I'm already seeing like negatives and I want to go into it, but I don't want to, not yet. These insights can help you make adjustments and improve your financial habits. So who doesn't love that, right? A report to be able to tell you what you've been spending, why you shouldn't spend it, different ways that you can approach your finances. Who wouldn't want that?
Goal setting and tracking. Budgeting apps typically include features to set financial goals, such as saving for a vacation or paying off a debt. They allow you to track your progress towards these goals and provide motivation to stay focused.
And last but not least is accountability and discipline. I love that motivation isn't in here because discipline is more important and powerful than motivation.
Whatever.
Oh, look. There's an ant that just crawled across your laptop. Does she love that? That was a nice little break. We should name him Auntie. Okay, so accountability and discipline. Budgeting apps can help you stay accountable to your financial goals, which is nice. By tracking your expenses and seeing where the money is going, you can develop better spending habits and exercise discipline in your financial decisions. Beautiful, right? Doesn't everyone want app now? Like, everyone will be like, wow, an app is a no-brainer. I put it on my phone. I connect it to my bank account. Every time I swipe, it tells me exactly what I spent and gives me a report to tell me exactly where I spent it over the course of a month, a week. And it can help me with my accountability and discipline by telling me like what my trends are. All I need is an app, and I am going to be the next. Like I'm gonna have a fully funded emergency fund.
I love spicy, Kim.
I'm gonna save all the monies, and I'm gonna be the next millionaire because now I'm gonna start investing more.
Okay, spicy, Kim. You sound a little opinionated.
No,
here
I was
and
so
biased.
serious about that. Apps are the only thing you need.
So let's push pause here for a second. Not literally, but just like to you and the audience. Would you like to take a moment and talk about more of the pros and our experience with the Mint, or do you just want to dive right into the cons?
We could talk about the Mint.
Okay. So,
but I think you know what? Let's go through the cons first, because here's the reason why.
I knew
because
you wanted to be negative.
as we talk about the Mint, we're going to have positives and negatives about it.
Sure. That's fair. That's fair. All right.
It makes sense to go into the cons first.
Quick reminder. All right. The things that we mentioned about the pros. This type of software can be convenient. It can give you real-time tracking and automation, can give you financial insights, help you set goals and track and stay accountable and be disciplined when working towards your financial goals. Kim, give us a con since you're excited.
I am. There's a learning curve. Some budgeting apps may have a learning curve, especially if they offer advanced features and complex interfaces. It may take some time to understand all the functionalities and customize the app to your specific needs. So it might take you a month or 2 or 3 to really get into the groove of what this app can do for you.
It makes me think about social media, like how growing up, like Facebook would always change
and everyone would be pissed off.
And no one would ever be like, man, this is the greatest thing that ever happened. But then like 6 months later, they'd change it again and everyone would be upset because they changed that format and they learned to love it.
And you learn to adapt to the changes that are happening. And that's when it's happening to you. But when you are in charge of the change, it's a different story, right? Because then you have the opportunity to say, nope, don't like it. I don't like the way this feels. I feel uncomfortable. I'm going to go back to where I'm comfortable. And I'm going to go right back and just settle right in. I don't want to change. I don't want to move. And so that's that learning curve. You got to push through that if you want to be able to get proficient.
It takes time to learn.
Give it some time.
Number 2, security concerns, right? When using budgeting apps that require access to your financial accounts, there is a potential risk of data breaches and unauthorized access. It's important to choose reputable apps with robust security measures and regularly update your passwords.
That's just the internet these days.
I think that's just true with anything.
Yeah.
But there have been times, right? Just like with banks, right? Entire bank institutions like Capital One have had issues with breaches and people getting their information hacked. So that stuff happens. So what can you do? Number 1, make sure that that software that you're using is reputable and has robust security. You can look that up very easily, and also just make sure you're updating and changing your passwords regularly.
Technical issues. It is an app after all. It's constantly evolving, and they rely on technology. So the occasional technical issue will arise. You might have bugs, crashes, or syncing errors that can occur.
We literally just had a bug.
We literally just had a bug on the laptop. So it can hinder your ability. Oh wait, no, hold on. Dependence. I went to another thing. Okay.
I threw you off.
Yes, you did. Syncing errors can occur. I crashed. See, that will happen. This can disrupt your budgeting routine and require troubleshooting or contacting customer support, which I think, again, could happen to literally anything that's technological, but it's just good to know that it could crash.
Right. And when you're using the software, you might find that you have a dependency, or you'll have dependency on technology. So using a budgeting app means you are relying on technology. And if your device malfunctions, or if you do not have access to the application, it can hinder your ability to track your expenses and manage your budget effectively. So it's important to have backup methods or other ways to budget.
Interesting. Another one is cost. So while many apps are free, many of them have premium features that can come at an additional cost. So it's essential to consider the value of the features that you're getting and whether you want to commit to a paid plan.
And then finally, sometimes the software that you use can have that lack of personal touch. So budgeting apps can be impersonal at times, lacking that human element of financial advice or guidance.
Really? Tell me more about the difference between having a person
Yes.
versus...
They offer tools, they offer data, but they might not offer that tailored recommendation or solution to your unique, specific challenges.
Yeah.
You know, people are going to think that we created that one just
I
like
didn't.
for-
Nope. We did. I mean, we did, but we didn't. So here's the thing though, with the cost too. So many people can say, oh yeah, it's only $5 a month or it's only $14 a month. And I'm totally going to pay attention to it. Like it's going to be great. Right. But let me just tell you this, you get used to paying, like it doesn't hurt. And I know that sounds really weird, but I'm going to give a little shameless plug for the reason why coaching is so great. Like having financial guidance from someone is so great, because when you're paying like $14, if you know you have the discipline to show up to your finances and do it on a consistent basis, that might be a really good move for you, right? But if you already know, based on your habits and what you know from your past, if you know that you're not going to move any further by just paying $14 or paying $5 a month, you already know that you're probably not going to follow through with this. And that's not me saying, I don't think you can do it. I totally can. But do you knowing yourself, believe that you're going to be able to follow through with it this time, right? How many times are you going to like be on the wagon for a month and then off the wagon and on? Like you're not going to make constant like moves. So it's actually going to be more advantageous for you to invest in something that might hurt a little bit, but you know that you're going to pay attention because you're going to get your money's worth. Like whenever I'm investing in anything, coaching or whatever, where I'm betting on myself, bet your bottom dollar I'm going to be at every meeting. Every time the coach says, oh, you can just, anytime you want to meet with me, I am making that meeting because I will get my money back. It's not a matter of, oh, maybe if I have time. Like I make time to create that space for myself to learn and to make my money back because I'm in control of that. So you have the opportunity to do that when you have someone who's sitting right next to you who is committing their time to help you grow. You just approach it differently than if it's just an app. That's just after a while, you're like looking at all those notifications, like you have a higher than normal bill. And you start going, oh, let me just swipe and forget it. There's no, what's that word? Consequence or accountability. There's no accountability by you doing that. But by having a person, you have a person that you're accountable to, and it hits different.
You have to know who you are.
You have to know who you are, right? Same thing with your learning style. If you really found yourself when you talk to another person, that's how you learn. I know that's how I learn. If I have someone that's in the pool with me, so to speak, and like talking it through with me, processing out loud with me, I will go so much further than if I'm in the classroom and just hearing the information and writing notes. It will not work for me. So I knew just from that, I was like, oh yeah, coaching, having someone that's right there with me, that's the type of proximity I need if I want to go as far as I want to go in my personal. But that's just...
Right. Now, I will say, we're full transparency here. We don't currently use any budgeting software.
No.
But when we were first starting out, we did.
We did.
I would say we used the Mint for years.
Yeah, for a good 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, for years.
But I would say we used it along with
a paper pencil.
And
budget.
that's what we're going to talk about later, about how we got to the combination of things. But
so just from our experience, let's talk about some of the things that we enjoyed about the Mint. The number one reason why I decided that we wanted to do this is because when we did the paper pencil method, I hated initially. It's funny because I love it now.
Yes.
Things change over time.
It's not technical. Anyway, moving on.
I hated tracking.
Yeah.
Tracking felt so tedious. Mm-hmm. I would have to log onto my bank. I would have to check everything that went through all my expenses. I would have to categorize them on my own. Then I'd have to write it down on this paper pencil budget. It took a lot of time. Maybe it took a lot of time because we were just starting out and trying to figure things out. Or maybe it just took a lot of time to do that all on our own with the paper pencil method. It's a lot of thinking. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, how can I work smarter, not harder? And it was scary to sign up for the Mint because you do have to link all your accounts.
Yeah,
and
I remember that.
There was just, I don't know, there was something about it that was just like, man, I'm really putting my trust in this software. Like I'm giving them all my information. Like I hope it's not abused or
That just shows
taken
you
advantage
the
of.
sign of the times. It was what, 2012, 11?
Right.
And that was just not something we did.
I felt like Nick Miller from New Girl. Like he
Nick
was just
Miller,
very
Nick Miller.
anti-technology and banks and things like that. Like
Yeah.
that was, man, I'm like a curmudgeon, like an old man, dude. Just don't trust stuff. So, but I really wanted to work smart. I wanted to be efficient. And thinking of software tracking for me, categorizing for me, doing that automatically, and all I have to do is log in and see the categories and see the numbers go up or stay the same or not move, like, you know, like that.
Turn red, like it was automated.
That, well, we can get into that too. But I loved the real-time tracking. I loved the convenience. It was so easy. And that's why I ultimately decided to go with the Mint, because I was lazy.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to track and write that all down and do all that thinking by myself. I was like, man, I'll make a computer do this for me.
Right. And what
Loved
was
it.
beautiful is that we'll talk about this later as well, but we still use the paper method because it was another way for us to have it
Not
all down
today.
there. Not today.
But you're saying at that time.
At that time.
When we were first starting, we had paper pencil and we had the Mint.
It was a way to make it easier for us to, like when we made a plan, because we always, and this is what many people do, they start their plan at the beginning of the month. And then they go all the way to the end of the month. And that's when they go back and assess, okay, how did we do? And so that was the part that he was talking about, like going through the whole statements to figure out how much we spent in each category was tedious. And after a while, we were like, this is for the birds. And that's where most people stop. And they say, this is too hard. I don't like this. This is way too tedious. Peace out. I'm done. Right. But we decided to say, okay, is there a way to make this part? Because this is the part we don't like. I don't mind making a plan at the beginning of the month and putting it on paper. But I do mind going out and about and not knowing. Like, I can't go back and get the book. I'm not bringing the book everywhere with me. That doesn't make sense. So that's when the app came to be, and it made sense for us to do that. We're getting too far into like how we got into our thing. But anyway, all that to say,
It doesn't matter.
the app was super helpful for us because while we were on the go, our Mint app mirrored our paper budget. So it was literally like taking it on the go with us. So when we were going, we were able to look at the app and go, oh, it's in the red. We can't do that today. Or, oh, we're in the green. We can go ahead and do that.
And that's the point I wanted to make about paper pencil, right? Paper pencil, I feel like it's one of those things where you do it at the beginning of the month, and then unless you're tracking on your own in real time every week, like you're not really keeping track with the
Right.
paper budget, right? You all of a sudden you're like, oh shoot, it's May 28th.
I
Like,
should look at that.
I need to update this budget. And then you go to do your paper pencil budget, and then you realize, dude, I spent so much money on fast food this month. Like you realize after the fact. And the great thing about
Yes,
the
the money's
software
always gone.
is the real-time tracking. You don't do anything. You just log in every now and then, and you'll see your fast food category. It'll put it all in there for you. And you'll see the colors change. If you're in green, you're good. At least on the Mint. I'm speaking
Right. Yeah.
for the Mint.
Yeah.
Green, you're good. Yellow, you're getting close to your limit. And red, you're over.
Right.
So if you see that after week 2, it's like awareness. It's like, oh man, like we got to stop eating out. Like we have already hit our limit for the month. And paper pencil, unless you're tracking and constantly going back and checking, which we didn't. That's why we went to the software. You're going to go over.
Yep. And so that was really helpful for us to look at that. Now, one thing that I think is, you could call this a con of using the apps, is that it might automatically track for you. And I think what people are thinking of is they want something with automation, which means that you don't have to keep up with it, which is quite false. You still have to, even if you set it up, your job, and this is the hard part, is to keep looking after it. You have to keep updating it, keep looking at it to make sure that you're getting your spending habits in check, that everything that it's categorized is correct, that it hasn't put things
You're
in
bringing
double.
back memories.
I know that it's not putting things in double, because once again, it's a software. So it might accidentally put something in there twice and you're like, oh no, it was supposed to be in there once. Or there might have been something funky that happened when you transferred from your savings to your checking and then your savings again, because I do that all the time. And it like doesn't know how to categorize it. You have to be the person to control the app.
Right. The perfect example of that is, we'd have our grocery budget, which I want to say at the time was probably like $360. And I remember sometimes I'd log on And I'd be like, what in the world? Like, how did this number jump almost like $70? Like, what is going on? So I'd click in there because you have to go and check and make sure everything's categorized correctly. And I'd see like $67 at Costco. I'm like, babe, we don't even like have a Costco membership. Like, what is this? And Kim will be like, oh, I went to the gas station and it's connected to Costco.
Yep.
And it sees the name Costco, so it puts it under food. But actually, it was a gas station. And that happened all the time. Like, sometimes we'd go to like ice cream and it would be like jewelry. And it just, sometimes things are so unique. Or if they're like mom and pop shops, like they don't really know how to categorize them. So they just throw it into whatever category they think makes sense. So you definitely got to go through each category and check and make sure they categorize things correctly.
Or if you go to Target and you're getting something and you're getting food, it might think it's clothing. Or you went and got something for clothing and it was food. So, or you got both and you need to figure it out, right?
We would do, remember this? We would do separate transactions in the store. We would have like a cart full, and some of it would be groceries, some of it would be clothing, and some of it would be, I don't know, let's just say electronics. And I remember people probably got so upset at us. We'd be like, hey, can we do 3 transactions today? And the cashier would look at us like, oh,
why?
Okay. And be like, and we'd give her all the clothes. I'm like, yeah, ring this up. This is the clothing. And then she'd finish and we'd pay for it. And I'm like, all right, next transaction, could you just do the food? And then she'd ring up all the food and put it in a bag.
It wasn't
like,
quite that obnoxious. I don't remember it being that obnoxious. But
listening to it out loud, yes, it was, Kim. Like, that was us. So that we could go, and the reason we did that is so we could go into the Mint and we'd say, okay, this Target purchase of $26 was clothing.
Yeah.
This purchase of $47 was like food. And then this other one of like 12 was batteries. I don't know what it was.
But here's the deal. There are some things that we did that to the person
we lived
hearing
and died
it,
by the categories.
Right. We loved the categories. We wanted to know exactly how much we were spending in each category, and we wanted to see how close we were. Like, we were willing to do what it took because we knew, again, and the other pro or the other con about apps is that it'll tell you how much you saved, and I put that in quotation marks, but sometimes it can be really tricky to figure out, like, okay, but where did that money even, like, where is it though? Like, is it in my bank? Like, I don't really know how this works. Like, it can be a little bit confusing, especially if you're trying to save maybe like $50 every 2 weeks, maybe, or anything of that matter. Or if you transfer something into your savings account, it thinks that it's an expense. Like, there's so many different caveats with apps that you have to stay on top of it and you have to know what you're doing. So it's not just something that you can just say, oh, I said it and forget it. None of the things that we're going to mention here have that type of vibe.
No, not at all.
Okay.
I remember, man, I hope this isn't just going down memory lane, but also there was like a rollover feature. So if you had a category that you wanted to roll over into the next month,
got so annoying.
So then it would build up, but then if you pulled from that category without telling it, like to cover for another like category that went over, you're like, oh, this utility bill was higher, so I'm going to pull from clothing to cover that. Like, you would have to try to tell it that. It was a lot.
It was a lot.
Here's the other thing I want to say. This was a con, right? And this happened to us. Sometimes it doesn't recognize, out of nowhere, it just wouldn't recognize your bank account. And it would could not sync to your checking account. So until you get it corrected, it would no longer automate and pull information from your checking account. So you would have to then track on your own until it's self-corrected, or you had to call and get help.
Right.
So that was incredibly frustrating. And it says real time, but it's not real time. If I go to Target and swipe my card, it's going to show up on that software like a day later or 2 days later. And if it's pending, like some things do, man, it might be a week.
Right. So then your budget will be skewed.
You think, oh, I still got $50 left of fast food. And then, that one goes through for like the restaurant, but then 4 days later it goes through with tip. And you're like, darn, I thought I had like $40 left, but actually with the restaurant and then the tip that came through even later, like I only had like $7 left, and now we're over.
Exactly. So all that to say, this is a learning curve. None of this is set it and forget it. If you're choosing to use an app, you have to stay on top of it and understand what the data is asking you to do. You have to understand the data, period. The other thing that I was saying that I was trying to wrap up with is that with the paper pencil.
You were trying to wrap me up?
Yeah, like a present.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. So like the paper pencil version, right? We would have the app that we would use during the month. And that's what we would mainly look at. At the end of the month is when we put all the categories, all the totals. So then we could say We budgeted $300. We only spent $200. It mirrors exactly what's on the app, but we wanted to see it in paper format. So we saved $100. So now I have to like move that $100. So we use that along with a zero-based budget. This probably sounds so overwhelming to some people, but I want you to know, and we're going to talk more about this. This did not happen overnight.
It all takes
Please
work.
understand that what we're trying to get at here is that one, there's tons of means to get to your desired result. And two, you have got to stay on top of it. The accountability and the discipline is the part that's going to get you far. If you're not, you have to stay on top of it. That's the only way you're going to be able to succeed.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that because that was definitely a point I was going to make. There's no one way to build generational wealth, right? We say that all the time. There's also no one way to budget. There's no this budget beats all other budgets.
Nope.
You can use Kim's budget. You can use Dave Ramsey's budget. You can use a software budget. It doesn't. A budget is it's all about you. Does it, when you walk into a house, you know, you're checking out homes that you want to purchase, does the layout, does the floor plan, does it vibe with you? Does it interest you? Does it intrigue you? Does it feel like home? Right? You got to find that budget that feels like home.
Exactly. In the same way, when you move into that house, we have analogies galore, guys.
So
And
we're
you're
introducing when you're here, you're home budgeting.
No, it's funny.
No.
But even when you move into a house and you're like, oh, it's going to take me a little bit to figure out, where does the couch go? Where does this go? What color do I like here? It's the same thing with your money management. So please stop romanticizing that it's going to be like, snap, it's perfect. Everything takes time. So please give yourself
Takes time,
space.
takes work, but there's no one way, right? When you find something that fits you, it might not fit for your friends, but if it fits for you, great.
Yeah.
All right. Find what works for you.
Hey guys, this is Kim Graham, co-host of the Affluent Marriage Podcast. We hope you've enjoyed your episode so far. And I know that you're like, wait, hold on, there's more here. And there is. It's in the next episode. We hope that you guys are going to join us over there. And in the meantime, if you're waiting, join us on Instagram at the Affluent Marriage Pod, because we'd love to connect with you, converse with you. We want you guys to message us, see how you're doing and how you're enjoying the podcast. We want to hear all of those things, and we cannot wait to help you live in love and walk in wealth in the next episode. See you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.